Over the last few days, as more information is becoming available, it is now clear to me, based on my review of the logs and reports that have come to me from our staff about the logs, that the system has never been 100% operational and at 100% of its capacity. As a leader of the city, I cannot make good decisions unless I have information, and it is information that I can trust. It's been a very frustrating and angering situation for us, and of course I know for all of the people of New Orleans. Over the last few days, it has become abundantly clear that we continue to have major issues with Sewerage and Water Board infrastructure that surround three primary areas. One, the generation of power. Two, whether pumps are working or not. And three, manpower. We also have issues with city public works, such as catch basins and minor drain lines. These vulnerabilities are unacceptable, especially in the height of hurricane season. So let me be clear. The buck ultimately stops with me. I own it, I accept it, and I am taking responsibility to fix it. I will not rest until we get what we need in this city for us and all of our people to be safe. With better information, better technical expertise, we're going to create a better pathway forward for a safer, better operating system. The experts that we have in place now have developed a plan of action. In the last several days, we have brought in third-party technical expertise to establish the flow of good and trustworthy information. They also have established a protocol to fix our down turbines, bringing an additional technical contractor and labor support to fix what is broken. How to bring in additional equipment to have backup power sources, that means generators, transformers, feeders, and other equipment. How to fix all, or as many as possible, pumps that are broken in a short time. 5 different contractors are beginning work 24/7 to fix the pumps that are currently out of service. We have also brought in technical experts to assess the true capacity of our working pumps to determine if fixes need to be made to get them to full capacity. Lastly, we're working on plans to move funds to be able to clean and fix more catch basins and drain lines in the areas of the city that are especially most prone to flooding. Now, in the power situation, Turbine 1, which is the one that went out the other day, is back up and it's operating. With Turbine 6 and Entergy Power, we will have enough power to handle our water and sewer systems plus drainage capacity for normal rains. Today, our power supply is where we were before Saturday, August 5th, which is good. But in my mind, with the knowledge that we have now, it is not enough, especially because we need more backup power in the event that our Entergy power goes out. That is why we placed an emergency order for 26 2-megawatt generators. The status of those generators is as follows. 22 generators have arrived and are in the process of being set up and connected, which we expect to be completed by tomorrow. 4 final generators are en route from Miami and will be delivered today. In addition to providing power to the central plant, we will also use some generators at individual pump stations for redundancy. It could take some time to get them connected and operational. Until all of these generators are set up and we have additional turbines come back online, which could be several weeks, there will continue to be some risk to our drainage system. So at this time, the system's capacity to drain stormwater from the streets is diminished on just the east bank of New Orleans, west of the Industrial Canal. This power issue does not affect New Orleans East, the lower 9th Ward, nor Algiers. Again, this means we believe we have what we need in the event of a typical rainfall, but we will not have what we need in the event of a deluge or a major rain event. At this time, drinking water and sewer services for all of the city are not affected. The generators we are securing will also give us additional redundancy for those systems as well. On the issue of pumps, we currently have 103 of 120 pumps available to be operational. The 17 that are out of service are being assessed as we speak for emergency repairs. In addition to what we know is broken, there are also likely capacity and maintenance issues with the 103 pumps that are operational, so our teams are inspecting them as well. Crews are beginning again, as I said, to work 24/7 on emergency repairs. We will post the status of individual pumps and a schedule for repairs at the Sewerage and Water Board website. We also have posted the logs for the pump stations for July 22nd, August 5th, and August 8th for public review. We're also learning new information and investigating the capacity of the individual pumps and individual pump stations. On the issue of manpower, it is now clear that we have staffing issues and that not all of the pumping stations were manned last week. So our contractors are also going to be bringing in pump operators so that all of our stations will be manned. Now, according to the National Weather Service, we're expected to have a 50% chance of rain today. As with any summer thunderstorm, there could be isolated areas with heavier rain, up to 2 inches. Again, out of the abundance of caution, and because of the likelihood of rain throughout the weekend, we all need to remain vigilant. Again, there's no need for panic, but we just need to remain vigilant. During heavy rainfall, I'm urging residents in the affected area to move their vehicles to higher ground, take necessary actions to protect personal property, and stay off of roadways unless an emergency makes it absolutely necessary to do so. In the event of heavy rain or flooding, we're reminding residents to call 911 to report street flooding and life-threatening emergencies. Residents are advised to remain indoors during heavy rainfall. The city has launched a new website, streetwise.NOLA.gov. streetwise.NOLA.gov. This is a website for reviewing in real time reports of flooding and accidents from 911 calls. To see in real time where reported traffic accidents and street flooding are occurring, visit http://streetwise.NOLA.gov. NOPD has staged barricades in 20 areas prone to flooding, including underpasses. Again, as a precaution at this time, we have staged high water vehicles and other response vehicles to be used in the event of any flooding. We also have sandbags available at Perdido and South Lopez, should you want them or need them. We expect to have additional locations announced today. For those seeking more information or that are interested in registering for the Special Needs Registry, please call 311. 311 is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day right now, including weekends. Our Emergency Operations Center is going to remain open and staffed. The city will keep residents updated through email alerts and at NOLA Ready Twitter account. In closing, let me say, we have an action plan to fix the power supply and the pumps. We're working on an action plan for catch basins and drain lines, which we will announce shortly. Together, these things will get our system back and running in better shape over the next several weeks. This is our team's focus and our priority right now. There is going to be plenty of time for an action report. We're putting that in play now. In fact, later today or tomorrow, we will put out an RFP for an independent third party to do that analysis of the August 5th and the July 22nd events. We're continuing to learn a lot, and we want to provide confirmed information in real time to you, the public, so that we can be fully transparent. This is our obligation, and this is my commitment. Again, our notices are all out of the abundance of caution. We all need to remain vigilant. We'll keep you updated as we learn more information. Having said all of that, we don't have to remind everybody that we're in hurricane season, and so always having a hurricane plan, especially now, is critically important. Everybody knows what that looks like, everybody knows what that feels like, everybody knows where to get information to do so, and we expect that the folks of New Orleans will be ready in the event that that occurs as well. All right, thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
So, you didn't find out some of these issues until that down flooding event. Are we able to handle 3 to 5 inches of rain per hour? I mean, how much of an improvement is this really when you say that we're going back to the period before last Saturday?
Any time, again, you've heard all the metrics about water. We have vulnerabilities in our system, even when we get these back up and operating. I don't have a lot of confidence in the information now that I got from Sewerage and Water Board, which is why now we have brought in private contractors to reassess the system with fresh eyes to give us clear information about that. We'll be able to answer those questions for you. Remember, we got a couple of things going on now. It's power, pumps, and manpower. They all work together. The information that we got about the August 5th event shortly after it has turned out not to be true. All of the pumps were not operating, and all of them were not operating at capacity. Some of them actually got turned on late. That has something to do with how much water can get pushed out at a certain time. Some of that had to do with power generation as opposed to the functionality of the pumps. I don't want to answer that question until I have specific, verifiable information for you, which is why the experts are looking at that right now, and we'll give you that information as soon as we have it.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, on the issue of manpower, how many positions are unfilled right now at SWB, and how many of these contractor temporary pump operators are we bringing in?
I don't know the specific answer to that question, but I will get it for you. We have some stations that have individuals that go from station to station that couldn't get to one of the stations because, or two, I don't know the exact number, because of the water as well. The issue of manpower at stations 24/7 has been one that we need to look at. We're working through that right now. That is why the team of independent experts who are going to do an independent analysis are going to give us the best information available as we go forward.
Aubrey?
That was one thing you kind of touched on a second ago. We had information that some of the pumps, specifically one in Lakeview, was not being manned 24/7. Is that something, you might have already touched on that earlier, but is that something you have knowledge of already?
I do now. Based on our review of the logs and the recitation of the logs to me, that is true. There was not somebody at one of the stations. They were in New Orleans East, I think, and was supposed to go to the Lakeview side. They got held up like everybody else did, and they were not there, which is one of the reasons why one of the pumps got turned on late.
And was there any other besides that Lakeview one, or was there any other ones?
I can't answer that question for you right now. Again, I want to put this in buckets for the public. There is an after-action report that's going to look back on everything with all of the knowledge and information that we have available from not only what the logs are going to show us, but other operational practices, and be able to figure out where the holes were, where the problems were, where the credibility issues were looking back. And that's fine. I want that to happen. We're going to get that done, and the public's going to know all about that. And we're focused on that. What I'm focused on today, right now, for the next 4 days, is securing the system so that we can get us back into a safe space given most of the rainfall that we had. And that is why I'm focusing so much attention on the power, the pumps, the integration of those two things, which I think that within 14 days we'll have in pretty good shape. Now, having said that, both of these issues, information flow, trustworthiness, system design, functioning of energy, the ability of pumps to move, has to do with a much larger problem of taking the Sewage and Water Board from where it is and getting it into a place where it needs to be. That is a long-term look. And in the meantime, between those three things is hurricane season. And so we're working on all four of those at one time, but today and tomorrow and the next day we're going to be focused on the securing the system from a power point of view and from a pump's point of view.
We were struggling to pay for the upgrades. So where is all this money coming from now, the third party and the generators and so forth?
Well, first of all, the upgrades is a gargantuan amount of money. This goes to the issue that I've spoken about for 7 years. We've been really clear about this. The successes that we've had at the Sewage and Water Board actually comes from the $2.6 billion that we were able to generate on the sewer and the water side, and the $150 to $160 million to actually upgrade the power plants. Those things are going on over there, and they actually have been very successful. Everybody in this city should know by now that the drainage portion has always been underfunded, and that is going to be a long look for the next mayor and the next city council about how actually to do that. I've also said this many times about the streets. We have a $9 billion problem and $2 billion in assets, which flows
part of that.
Drainage is part of it, which flows into the larger infrastructure issue, of course, which we're having on a national level, a state level, and a local level. So you can't have something for nothing. Everything costs something, and we're going to have to work through the long-term plan of what we need and how to pay for it.
So wait, does this come out of emergency funds right now, or are you saying that it has to be?
No. Right now, so that's the big picture. The short picture is we are going to move around resources that we have now for other projects that are going to be, that was supposed to happen 4 or 5 years out, and we are going to make sure that we work through legally and ethically the pots of money that are available, reprioritizing them and focusing in them on the emergency issues that we have that deal with the issues of power and deal with the issue of pumps to get the system secure, and then we'll look forward.
But it's not the beginning of privatizing SWB, am I right?
I don't know if you were here yesterday or not, but I spoke very clearly to that issue. I am not in the process of privatizing the Sewage and Water Board. What I'm in the process of doing now is starting to look back, securing the system as we speak, keeping us prepared for hurricane system, and then beginning the conversation about what goes forward. I will not sign any contracts that bind the next administration long-term relating to the Sewage and Water Board. How long those contracts have to be right now in order to secure the system could be anywhere from here to the end of hurricane season to the end of the year, or as recommended by the experts that are with us. But that whole issue about what the long-term management structure, system design, the next mayor, the next city council, and the people of the city will, I'm sure, opine about pretty aggressively in the next 6 months, and we'll help them.
Last one from Ken.
Hey, Ken.
On the cost of the 26 emergency generators being brought in, do we know yet what that's going to amount to? And
Yes, we do, but I don't have, you know that number?
It's around 7 million.
About $7 million.
and do you foresee any cuts in other city services being necessary to pay for this emergency? outlay?
I don't think so, but we're gonna, again, finding this money that's fungible, that's applicable, is a complicated task. It may force us to say certain projects are not gonna get done, but getting catch basins clean, getting the power sources back up, getting the pumps operating is the priority for the city. And there's always, to be really clear about this, for everything that we do, there's always a cost, and there's always a sacrifice, and somebody always has to pay. Those three things will never go away, no matter what circumstance we're under. But we're in a fix right now. We're going to get out of it, and we're going to do it in a thoughtful, and a compelling, and a transparent way.
So
All right.
you're
So,
tweeting
Mayor, are we
about-
ready for hurricane season now? Or are we not?
We're as ready as we can be for hurricane season, but right now, for the next 14 days, we're in a more vulnerable spot than we have been in some time. Now, there's a way to prepare for that. Now, this is just what you would prepare for in a typical hurricane season. We will be in touch with FEMA. We will be in touch with Homeland Security on both the federal level and the state level, and everybody's got to have a hurricane plan. If a hurricane Category 3 shows up in the Gulf in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have to work through that in the very difficult circumstances. After that, it'll just be normal difficult, like we all go through from time to time. And so we will keep you advised as we go forward.
All right.
Everybody get their plan together, and everybody make sure it works.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.